Well, it's a very hard question. Well, I will say that I'm not civilized. And the reason why I'm saying that is that I don't do enough to protect the environment. I don't do enough for this world, for the humanity, and it makes me not civilized enough. I would love to be more civilized, I would love to help more people, but what do I do to help Syrian refugees? What do I do to help, those people who beg in the streets? I don't do anything, and it makes me really sad. So I would say I'm not civilized. And I feel like crying now, because it's the truth. And I'm questioning myself now and asking, well, I must change my life and do something about it. And here is my message to you guys. Are you civilized? Can you say that you are civilized? Perchin, you are laughing, but you are not, because you are not helping them either. Well, guys, thank you. This is a question for you to reflect on, and for me too.
Well, if Vlada, who is a vegetarian and does yoga and is volunteering for an NGO, is not civilized, I don't know what hope there is for the rest of us, to be honest. The second question is, are you happy with the civilization you live in? Aydın.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When I hear the word civilization, it reminds me of the computer game Civilization. Who has played Civilization? So you're probably gonna know what I'm gonna talk about. So it was one of the... No, I'm answering the question. You talked about civilization. So it was one of my favorite games of all time. It was a strategy game. So the game is about building a civilization from scratch. You start with a few people, you build a city, then the city grows, you build more cities, and you build technologies, you improve, and with time, you build a country, you discover other countries, and you can attack them, you can trade with them, so you can really test your civilization. And the game is really flexible, so you can do anything you want. And the favorite thing in that game for me was to build my civilization, build to the rocket age, to the nuclear age, get a nuclear weapon, then you discover a tribe, which is just spears, and you can just bomb the tribe with atom weapons who are attacking you with their spears. So actually that explains how civilized I am. And that game is a really good test of your level of civilization. So that is how I feel about the country that I'm living in right now.
Are you going to vote?
Is it necessary? So we keep talking about civilization, but yeah, what is it really? Is it necessary to repress our instincts and our emotions in order to be civilized? Sure. Diyadin.
Thank you. I was expecting something not more general. So still force me to talk about emotions and personal stuff. But to first start with the word civilization. Are you taking notes? No. As I know, in at least several Mesopotamian languages, civilization means urban, city, being in a city, urbanization. So when we talk about civilization, we should first take a look at our cities before our emotions and inner voices. Your question was about...
Is it necessary to repress our instincts and emotions in order to be civilized?
Okay, so I found a really good connection. imagine how ancient Mesopotamians built the very first cities. It's a claim, maybe it's not verified historically, but they say that the very first civilization and the cities were built in Mesopotamia. So how did they build it? They came from the wildlife, right? So they had some wild instincts. So eventually they repressed their instincts. So we also have to, like, maybe it's not the same, but if we think our modern life as a replicate of the ancient times when the first cities were built and people had to live side by side for the first time, so we can also compare our life now and repress at least some of our instincts, because we have not very pleasant instincts. So imagine that 17 people living in Istanbul, doing whatever they want, whatever they like, whatever instincts just come off as actions in the streets, in traffic, in neighborhoods, outer neighborhoods, inner neighborhoods, in Taksim. Just imagine Taksim Square. What will happen? What will happen to our civilization in our evolving civilization? Seemingly evolving civilization. So, yes, we should at least check out some of our instincts, some of our emotions, in personal level, in group level, in political level, most important, in country level and in global level. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So, based on past and present experience with table topic sessions, I've decided to design a question that's impossible to dodge. And the question is, what is the most uncivilized thing you have ever done? Alpesh.
What is the most uncivilized thing I have done? Well, I have to think, there are plenty. But since the question is most uncivilized, I should rank them immediately. Okay. I was a burglar once. Actually, twice. Okay, maybe more than twice. I started the professional burglaring when I was in primary school, for God's sake. I was in second grade, which makes me 7 years old. I started 1 year early. I am 7. I am hungry. We're in a break, and this little girl, I still remember his name, Maria. This little girl in front of me leaves the classroom with her backpack open, and I see this beautiful. Do you remember the Tutti Frutti cakes?
Yeah.
I love them. I love them so much that on that particular day, I actually sneaked into her backpack, took the cake, enjoyed it, devoured it actually, not only enjoyed, but devoured it. And then when she got back, I remember, I'm 37, this is 31 years ago, and I need to work on my subconscious about this, with my subconscious. I very distinctly remember the way she screamed from the top of her lungs when she discovered that her beloved cake was missing. I might have a few, those raisins left on my lips. I don't know, because I had to eat it fast. I had to eat it quickly. And to this day, I still remember her face when she turned around, looked at me, and I knew that she knew that I had eaten her cake. But of course, I wouldn't admit it when she inquired. 31 years later, if I still remember that scream, those eyes piercing into my soul with such guilt that I have right now, that must be the most uncivilized thing I have ever done yet.
Maybe you
should find that field out.
Good?
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've just witnessed a breakthrough. Do you think being evolved and being civilized is the same thing? Why or why not? Passion.
No.
I'll also gain some time. Do I think being evolved and being civilized are the same thing? Well, if you compare me 10 years ago and now, 10 years ago I consider myself as like a monkey. Well, young boys generally mature older, so now I'm 28. But my status of civilization and my evolvement during that time, there is a huge difference. So yes, wherever you come from, whatever your background is, it is up to you to evolve and come to a civilized state. In civilization, of course, we have the social mask, we have societal norms and all. But again, it is up to you, and it's not only indoctrinated in the schools or in the courses you go, but it's everything that you do in your life, and the sum of those are civilization. You go to your school, you learn things. You attend the Toastmasters meeting, you learn things, you meet new people. You go to a language class, you learn languages. You go to play soccer with your friends, football, and then you develop yourself as well. And by this, you evolve, which creates a civilized society in general as well. So yeah, I consider myself a civilized person, but I think I have had a huge evolvement, especially in my adult life. Thank you very much.
Last question is, what is more important than being civilized? Seçkin.
Thank you. I think the question is, what is most important?
More important.
More important than to be civilized. I value civilization, of course, in terms of individuals, in terms of countries, in terms of empires, or even in all historical ages, there are some civilizations that changed humankind's life. Sorry. But I think the most important, the more important issue is still we are not evolved yet as humans, I guess. In civilizations, we see science values, moral values, aesthetical values, and some other cultural outputs, and we think ourselves civilized. But when we just sit with another person here, behave him or her in a humanistic approach, we test ourselves, our body, our emotions, our evolved mind, and we understand that if we civilized or not. I mean, as a conclusion, my point is, as a human being, our moral codes are more important than to be civilized. And I test each person with his or her moral behaviors, moral codes and personal behaviors, if his or her evolved and be civilized.
Thank you, Leila, for the questions. Again, please, on your ballots, you are going to vote